Hey everyone, Spicy Toast Gaming here at the start of a new week, so it's time for a new set of weekly adventures. So we have a 1.5, a 2, and a 4-star adventure. For the 1.5 up against Azir, we have Embrace the Current. When the player plays a spell, they refill 1 spell mana. So this is essentially Nami's first star power. This is really good for especially all of those spammier spells-based decks. So ones like Nami, like some regards Janna, Master Yi, really good for him, solid for Lee Sin, but can also just be good for a lot of the just spells-based decks in general. So it could also work for Veigar if you don't have Veigar at 3 stars yet. Also solid for like Varus, but especially good for those spammy-based spell decks, especially Nami and Master Yi. Now for the 2-star up against Nautilus, we have Power of Observation. So game start, all players summon a Hex Tech Observatory. This is essentially Lux's star powers. So each round, the first time you play a spell, refill mana equal to its cost. So this is really good for a lot of the champions that still have a decent amount of spells. You're maybe having a spell every single round, but you're not normally as much of a spammy spells-based champion. So it can still be good for some of the champions we mentioned, like really good for Jan. Normally you can have 1 spell to play every round. Could be good for like Vi, Varus, also again your Veigar if you don't have him at 3 stars. But it can also be good for some of the champions that just generate a spell every single round. So such as like Garen, if you're single combat you're generating, just be nice to always be able to play that spell right there. Then you also have Blind Rage. The player's units with power of 4 or higher can't block. So really not that big of a deal, just something you need to be aware of. Don't be relying on some of your bigger units. If you have someone with a little bit of control, such as like Yasuo or Ashe, then you can keep the enemy from really having big attacks anyways. Also with the Power of Observation, you could really pair this with a champion using Grand General's Counterplan. So if you have them on the board, then at the start of every round, you make your champion spell. So really any champion can be very good with this power if you're running that relic. A lot of people you can go with here. I think I would probably go with Garen. I think he's a champion that a lot of people have. And then being able to play your single combats for essentially free every round would be pretty nice. And normally with all of that removal, you'll be able to make sure the enemy just doesn't really have units, so you don't have to worry about the blocks anyways. Last up then, 4 stars up against Yasuo. So we have Suffer, round start, deal 3 to all the player's damaged units. Noxian Might, each round, the first time the foe summons a unit, granted 4 power and overwhelm. This is actually pretty tough, will make the enemy quite hard to block. And then the Vicious Enemy, Nexus Health, starting mana, and hand size, just making every encounter harder for you. Now this one will be a bit tough, again going for a bit of a more control style playstyle where you can keep the enemy from attacking, because if you can stun or frostbite, just maybe make them immobile, then you can really shut down this modifier right here and also really reduce damage you're taking from Suffer. Quite often you're going to be punished for taking blocks, because even if you survive the block, your unit will then likely die at the end of the round anyways from the Suffer. So I think going for a more control-oriented deck here could be really good to get through this one, can really shut down these modifiers and make it so you don't have to deal with them too much. Now that being said, I'm pretty sure everyone just uses Jinx, Aurelion Sol, but if you don't have those yet, try like a Yasuo, Ashe, Morgana. They would probably really help you out here, especially because this one could be fairly difficult for being a 4-star, especially with that Vicious Enemy. Even without the other modifiers, if you have a low-level account, just dealing with that Vicious Enemy on every fight can be fairly difficult. Overall, I think this is a pretty solid week, but let me know in those comments down below what you guys think of this week, or if you have any tips and tricks for your fellow players. All right, that's all from me. I hope you all have a great day.